Hey babe, so today I'm going to be telling you guys the story of my pregnancy, and on top of that, just my son in general and how he was stillborn and how I found out and all of that. Just like the whole gist of the whole like 8 months that it was. If you hear any like noises in the background, my dogs are in here. We have a Chihuahua pug and a golden retriever yellow lab. So yeah, they're annoying, but you know, they're cute. All right, so I'm going to start out with my pregnancy, and like I'm going to start from the very beginning and tell you guys like everything that I remember from my own pregnancy and everything that like led up to that point. So the very beginning of my pregnancy, me and Brent, my husband, were on vacation for our birthdays because our birthdays are 3 days apart. So we were in Utah for a week, and I was so hormonal and I didn't know what was going on, but I was always nauseous and I was always in a bad mood and I always was just crying and I didn't know like why. And I started gaining weight really fast, which made me really upset because I didn't understand why I was gaining so much weight, because I was working out but I was still gaining weight. And it was just a bad time and I was really depressed, and I was trying to quit smoking, and it was just a big thing all at once. And I really thought that this would be a really good like vacation for us, since we hadn't been on vacation with each other before and it was our birthday. So speed on to like a couple days after. It was the day before my birthday. We came back on Brent's birthday, which is July 29th. My birthday is August 2nd, so it was like the 1st. So like right after we got back, my mom kept telling me that she thought I was pregnant and that I was glowing and I needed to go take a test. So everybody kept telling me that I was pregnant, and like Brent told me that I was pregnant the second that he thought that I was pregnant. And so I went to the dollar store and I bought like a test, and I went to my mom's house and I took it just so that I could prove to them that I wasn't pregnant. And I was pregnant. And I cried so much. I was so happy and so surprised all at the same time, because I didn't think that I could get pregnant. Just a little backstory, I have endometriosis, so it's really hard for me to get pregnant. And they told me, because of all of the stuff that I've had down there, like with like CAT scans and stuff like that, and like all the radiation could have worsened my chances of being able to get pregnant. So he was my miracle, 110%. Like that pregnancy was a whole miracle in itself. And then at 13 weeks, we went to the I think it's a 3D ultrasound place. It's like an hour away from where I live, and we wanted to know the gender, but Brent and I didn't want to know the actual gender like right that second. Like we wanted to wait and be surprised. So we told my parents and his parents, or we like had them tell each other. My dad came to the thing, and then he told my mom, and then my mom told Brent's moms. And then on the gender reveal day, Brent and I both wore pink because we really thought that it was gonna be a boy. I thought it was gonna be a boy, but I wanted to make sure to jinx it to like it would be a boy. So he really wanted a girl, and I really wanted a boy, and I'm really glad that it was a boy, but Brent really wanted a girl. But I wore pink just to like say, you know, oh, I want a girl, and I kept jinxing myself. Like I'm like, I really want a girl, you know, hint hint, give me a boy kind of thing. And then we found out that it was a boy, and we named him Cameron Sky. God, this whole story is so hard to tell because I'm like, I can't like think straight. So fast forward after all of the gender stuff, I finally started feeling better. I finally wasn't nauseous, and I was constantly craving caffeine and hot stuff and all that. And I was like, oh my gosh, Brent, I hate you, because I never really drink caffeine. My husband drinks it like it's going out of style. Like he loves coffee, he loves soda and stuff like that. I don't really like coffee, tea, or dark soda, so I'm not like really, I guess I don't really like caffeine that much. But all I wanted Coke, Pepsi, and like anything that had hot sauce on it, and everybody kept telling me that I couldn't eat anything with hot sauce on it because it would hurt the baby. And I was like, that's like, okay, thanks. But I asked my doctor told me like it wouldn't hurt the baby to like have the hot sauce. It would just like increase my chances of having heartburn. So she told me when I did eat hot stuff just to like eat some Tums or whatever. So then we got to my 19-week checkup, which is where they do like an anatomy thing and they make sure that the baby has everything that they're supposed to have, like all their like vital organs, and like everything looks like the right size and stuff. And yeah. So they told me that Cameron was looking amazing and that he looked perfect and that there was literally nothing wrong with him whatsoever. And every single time we were at a doctor's appointment and they did an ultrasound, they told me that he was the most active baby that they've ever seen. Like he was always going, like go, 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 go all the time. And I felt that personally when he was inside of me. So like I understand why they would think that, because he was crazy and he was always non-stop going. All right, so then I went into preterm labor and I think I was 30 weeks at the time. It was literally I was like 29 and a half weeks or something like that. It was literally like a week or so before my baby shower, and I was so upset because it was way too early for me to be going into labor and I was having really, really bad contractions. Literally when I was in actual labor, I felt them less. Like when I started my actual labor, I felt like I felt them less than when I was having my preterm labor. But I was having preterm labor and they said that my cervix was shortening and they said that I was having contractions, but from what they knew, but it wasn't coming up on the thing. They told me all that they could do was give me a shot in my arm so that Cameron's lungs would develop faster, and that he was looking good, and that he you know, he still had a strong heartbeat and he was still like in his percentile or whatever, where he like looked and everything was good, everything. They said his head looked a little big, but like that was normal because he's a boy. And Brent and I both have pretty big heads, so I expected his head to be big. So they give me the shot and then they sent me home and stuff, making sure that like I wasn't having contractions anymore. And then finally comes my baby shower. My baby shower was amazing. I had so much support and so many people there, and it was so much fun. It really was so much fun, and I was really anxious that day because I knew that I was going to be around a lot of people. But the thing that got me going through the whole thing was the fact that I was feeling Cameron move like the whole time that I was at the baby shower. He was just going and going, and everybody was like saying, oh, we can see him through your, like, you know, through your clothes now. You know, you could see my stomach move through my clothes, and it was really, really cool to see that. And the fact that he reacted to music and stuff like that now, and he would, you know, actually interact with other people. Like he would actually like kick people when they like touched him now. Usually he would be really shy and he wouldn't kick for anybody except for me and Brent. But my baby shower turned out really nice, and I'll show you some pictures right here. Like it ended up being really nice, and I'm sorry, I'm getting really emotional. So my baby shower ended up being really good, and I'm sorry, I'm crying still. Ignore it. So my baby shower ended up being really good, and it was space themed, and I had like a bunch of space themed snacks and like planets everywhere and stuff like that, because Cameron's theme was space. He was our little alien. So my first appointment back after I went into preterm labor and after I had done my baby shower, I was supposed to see my new doctor that dealt with like more high-risk pregnancies, and I was given to his assistant lady, like his midwife. And that day I felt extremely weird. I was like really, really anxious, which was weird because at that point in my pregnancy, I didn't really get too anxious anymore. I was really positive about a lot of things. So it was really odd for me to feel so off, and I felt like something was wrong. I really did feel like something was wrong, and I expressed my feelings to her. She asked me if I had tried yoga, and First of all, I'm 33 weeks pregnant. Yoga is out of the question, especially because I haven't done yoga since way before I was pregnant, like when I was in college. And she asked me why I was so anxious, and I was like, well, first of all, I have anxiety. Like, it's literally, I have it. It's on my charts. Like, you guys, you know, you guys should know that. They knew about all of my mental illnesses and stuff beforehand, so I don't know why she was confused as to why I was anxious. Also, I was telling her, is there anything else we can do? Like, can you know, recheck the heartbeat or recheck, like go in with, can we get an ultrasound done or something like that? And she said, oh, none of that is necessary. You're good, you're okay. She said, when you go home, go ahead and like lay in a dark room with some music on. And that's all she had to tell me. And she thought that I was just being paranoid, I guess. And oh my gosh, I'm about to get really, really emotional. So 2 days later, so the next day after that, I wasn't feeling him move very much. And I was really, really, really anxious about it because he usually moves a lot. Even the doctor said, like, the whole time that, every time I got an ultrasound, oh my gosh, he's so active, like that's crazy, he's really active. And it wasn't normal for him to like not be active. But the whole day I was just trying to push through, and I was really uncomfortable and I was really tired. And so we went to Walmart that day because they were having this big baby sale or whatever for like baby stuff. And I'm sure you guys remember that from like earlier this year. There was a big baby sale for baby stuff at Walmart. And we got a bunch of books and we got new bottles, and we were just getting ready, like the rest of the stuff that we didn't already have, you know, because I had just finished the whole nursery and I finished everything, and I was so proud of myself because I did it all while like really ginormous pregnant. They told me ahead of time that I would probably have him early because of how big he is. So I was just getting ready beforehand to make sure that I was completely ready. The next day, Brent and his dad were working on the truck, our truck or whatever, all day long, and I was really, really anxious just all day, and I hadn't felt him move like at all at this point. And I finally told Brent something when he was done because I didn't want to bother him, and I didn't want to, like, you know, just be that paranoid mom where, oh, you're not feeling him because they're running out of room, which don't listen to them if they tell you that, because it's not true. They don't run out of room. If anything, you will feel them more. This is where I like went wrong in that area. Like, I'm not blaming myself. I'm just saying, like, I shouldn't have listened to that lady because she was lying to me. And yeah, so later that day, which it was a Sunday, when Brent and his dad were completely done with the truck, I told Brent, hey, I haven't felt Cameron move, can you please go get the fetal Doppler? So Brent brings the fetal Doppler out and there's no heartbeat. So we rushed to the hospital, and he said maybe we just can't hear it, like, you know, the fetal Doppler's not always right or whatever. And so we get to the hospital and I tell them, hey, I need to go to labor and delivery. My son hasn't moved and we can't find a heartbeat. So I get back there and this nurse asks me, hey, what's going on or whatever. You know, they ask like what your symptoms are and stuff like that, so they can like see if you're gonna go into labor or if, you know, whatever like that, so that I have some sort of insight on what's going on before they start doing stuff. So this lady hands me a gown to get in and straight up asks me, so what's going on? And I said, I haven't felt him move and we couldn't find a heartbeat with the fetal Doppler. And this nurse, like, I swear to you, she said, so you think your baby's dead? With no, like, I don't know, like, no compassion about, like, my situation or anything like that. She just said, so you think your baby's dead?
He sneezed. I'm just trying to keep him away from, like, that area and keep him from taking this and making crumpling noises, and he's just being a brat.
So she said that, and it was like, it made me really upset, and I was like, yeah, that I guess that's what it is. And then I laid in the bed with like the gown on or whatever, and she put these things on me, which they like track your contractions, and then they track like mom's heartbeat or baby's heartbeat, not mom's heartbeat. The heartbeat monitor, it was on my hand. I think that's where it was. Yeah, that's a heartbeat monitor, right, Brent? That's helpful. So they put like these little things, and one of them's pink, I think, like pink-ish, beige-ish, like it's like a peach color almost, and the other one's blue, and one tracks contractions and the other one tracks baby's heartbeat. And she said she found a heartbeat, but it was really close to my heartbeat because I have anxiety, and my heartbeat was at 140 to 145 at this point because I was so anxious. And she was telling me, oh, you need to calm down, like everything's probably fine. I was like, what do you mean calm down? I'm literally just sitting here. I wasn't being hysterical or anything yet. I was literally just sitting there, and my heartbeat was my heart rate was like high, extremely high. And so she thought that my heartbeat in my stomach was Cameron's heartbeat. And she brought in another nurse to check it, and the nurse said, no, that's definitely mom's heartbeat. And so they called a ultrasound tech to come, like, you know, come do an ultrasound real quick to see. And she sat there for a minute, and she didn't say anything, and she was just like going over my belly and stuff with the ultrasound. And I was just laying there, and the one nurse went outside of the room. The one that was being rude to me went outside of the room and was talking, and I couldn't hear what she was saying, but I could tell that it was her like talking loudly or whatever. And she went to talk to the other nurse, I guess, to see when my doctor was supposed to be there. And then when she came in, she came up to me, and the lady was still doing an ultrasound, you know, just looking at everything. And the lady just blurted out, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but there's no heartbeat. Your son is dead. That's all she said. She said, there is no heartbeat. Your son is dead. She said, after she told me she's not supposed to tell me this, like I'm supposed to be waiting for my doctor to confirm this, and she just tells me that. And so I'm at this point, I'm bawling hysterically because obviously like that's like the worst thing that I could have thought of happening. And the ultrasound tech says that he's a perfect size, and that the placenta looks good, and the cord isn't around his neck, so she doesn't know why he would have passed away. And then they leave the room so that me and Brent can like get ourselves together or whatever. And I called my mom, and he called his mom, and it was so much. Because they just let me go home. They told me to go home and like, you know, go try to get some sleep. They literally sent me home with him and me, like me knowing that he passed away already. And I think that's so messed up of them, because I just can't imagine sending someone home with like that going on. But it was because my doctor, I guess, didn't want to come in that late or whatever, and I wasn't dilating, so it wasn't bad for me yet. But I could have very well gotten an infection from keeping him inside of me for that long, because we didn't know how long he was actually passed away. He could have passed away that Saturday. But they told me to go to the doctor's first thing in the morning and go confirm my son's death, even though we already knew he was gone. And so I went to the doctor's at like 8 in the morning on Monday, and they did an ultrasound, and he said, yes, I'm sorry, your son has passed away. And he told me to go back home, and that he would call me, or he would have one of his nurses call me to come in either later that day or the next morning to go to the hospital to start my induction. And so I was just waiting at my mom's all day. It was really emotional because of the fact that like I knew he wasn't there anymore, but I could still feel him, and it did feel like more pressure and weight when, like, my gosh, I can't even talk right now. I'm so sorry. can't even breathe. Okay, so I was waiting at my mom's house and I was literally just laying there, and it hurt me to just be like awake. Like my stomach hurt. My stomach literally felt like it was going to explode because it was all just weight instead of him, like, you know, like usually they, like, you know, they float and they like chill or whatever, but because he had passed away, it was all of it was just sitting like on my hips and on like my pelvic bone and stuff, and it was very, very, very painful. It hurt to walk, it hurt to move, it hurt to do anything when it came to like moving or anything like that. And honestly, it wasn't even just physical pain. On top of that, it was like emotional. I was like emotionally just dead. Like I couldn't even like fathom the fact that my son had passed and that they literally sent me home with him still in me twice. Not just once, but twice. They literally just sent me home with him inside of me twice and told me to come back when they call me, right? So finally, it's 8 o'clock at night on Monday. So I called them and I told them, I was like, hey, my name's Lexi, you know, Casco told me that you guys would be calling me around, you know, this time. And they said, oh, we've been waiting for you for hours. And I was like, why haven't you called me then? Like, why? They have my number on file. They have my parents' number on file, and I was at my parents' house. So if they would have called my parents' house, it would have been totally fine. And I just don't understand why they made me wait for that long. So finally, around 9 o'clock, I get to the doctor's, and they didn't put the heartbeat thing on me because obviously we were already told that he didn't have a heartbeat. So they only had the contraction thing, and they couldn't find my contractions for so long. They kept having to move it and stuff like that. So they gave me Pitocin to induce me because I was no longer in labor. I was having contractions, but I wasn't progressing, and they did want me to be able to have the baby soon because they didn't want to do a C-section, which I'm fine with. Like, I didn't really want to do a C-section either, but I'm still upset that they like sent me home twice to just like have him in me without like any doctors around or anything like that. That made me really anxious and upset because I just didn't understand why they would do that, because I've never heard of that happening before. So they kept like asking me if I wanted pain medicine. The lady that was very rude and told me flat straight out that my son did pass away, that he died without any doctor there, and she wasn't supposed to be the one to tell me that, and she wasn't supposed to tell me the way she told me. And it was just, I had her again, and she was the one that induced me, and I really, really, really felt uncomfortable about her being anywhere near me because I really didn't want her near me, but she was my only nurse at the time, and I just hated it. I really hated it. And then another nurse came in, and I was like, thank God I don't have to talk to that other lady ever again, because she was, I guess she was like a traveling nurse, and she was only there for like that week. And she was leaving the day that I gave birth, which was, thank God, I did not want her anywhere near me while I was giving birth. But she kept like trying to push medicine on me because I was in a lot of pain. But I didn't want to do medicine. Like, I was kind of just trying to make it through, but because he passed away, she was really pushing the fact that if I took medicine, it wouldn't hurt the baby and stuff like that because he's already gone. And I just felt like that was very disrespectful of her to do that. And I did end up taking the medicine at the point where I felt like I needed it. But before that, I really didn't need it, and I really didn't feel like anybody should be telling me that I needed it, you know, because I wasn't in enough pain for me to be like screaming or anything. I was just making normal birth noises. I wasn't yelling or being loud or anything like that. I was actually pretty quiet my whole the whole time I was laboring. So in the morning, I had a lot of people come and visit me, and that was amazing because I really just wanted to not feel like I was feeling. Like, I was really, 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 really depressed. I cannot stress that enough. I was so extremely upset that I was still just laying in a hospital bed, and that when I was done laboring that I wasn't even gonna have my son. And I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional again. It was so hard to just lay there and let them like poke and prod and, you know, do all that, just knowing that they were doing it for no reason. Like, they were just trying to help me, and my son was already gone. And like the whole time I was pregnant, all I could think about is what like he would look like, you know. And the question was still in my head when I was giving birth. Like, there was no doubt about it. Like, I really still wanted to know what he would look like and who he would look more like and stuff like that. And I was so upset. I really was hoping that he would have a full head of hair. And I said if he didn't have hair, I would be so mad, because I had the worst heartburn my whole pregnancy. Like, from day 1 till the last day, I had such bad heartburn. And so I was in labor for 22 hours, and I was in and out of consciousness for most of that time, because they gave me the IV medicine, and they said that they could give me, you know, plenty of that. And I told them I wanted to be awake and present, but I did want, you know, some sort of medicine just to, like, you know, make it not that bad. But I didn't want to be in and out of consciousness the entire time that I was giving birth, because I did want to remember that, because that was the last like memories that I was gonna have with my son. So I'm really upset that I was in and out of consciousness, even though I asked them, please don't give me too much of this. Like, I would have lived with an ibuprofen. I would have been fine. But they gave me like some hardcore stuff that made me go in and out of, you know, consciousness. And then I did get an epidural because I was in so much pain. I think I was like 5 centimeters when they gave me an epidural. I could not handle it. The doctor literally came in, checked me, and said that I needed to get an epidural, otherwise I would not be able to make it through, because I was actually in so much pain at that point. So I kept trying to put myself back to sleep so that I could make myself, you know, like dilate faster, because they say when you're sleeping you do dilate faster for some reason. I'm not sure, like when your body's relaxed it just like lets it happen, I guess. They had to pop my water bag twice because I apparently had 2, which was really weird. I'm trying to remember like all of the things that happened while I was in and out of consciousness for 22 hours. The last thing I remember before I had Cam was them checking me one last time, like to see how dilated I was, and they said that I was at an 8.5, and then they went to check me again and said, oh no, you're ready, because I was at a 12 and Cameron was already coming out. And so they had me, I think I pushed for about 45 minutes, maybe even 30 minutes. It wasn't very long at all. I gave a couple really good pushes and he was just out. And that part didn't hurt at all. I really didn't feel that. Even though I had the epidural, I wasn't pressing like the button to make it like disperse anything extra or anything like that. So I did feel a little bit, but I wanted to feel something. I didn't want to be completely numb because this was my first time ever giving birth and I didn't want just to be like numb and not feel anything. That was like the only thing that I had from Cam, was like me giving birth to him. And then they took Cameron from me and cleaned him up and weighed him and stuff like that. And he was 6 pounds 2 ounces, 17, was it 17 or 17.5 inches long, baby?
I think it was 17.5 inches long.
So 6 pounds 2 ounces and 17.5 inches long at 33 weeks. So they were saying that if he would have made it to his due date, he would have been like 10 pounds. And he was super tiny and he was very, very handsome. He was very cute. He had curly, like strawberry blonde hair. Like you could tell that it was a little ginger, because I'm ginger, but Brent is blonde. So it was like a mixture of both of it, and it was very curly, like my natural hair. And he was everything that I wanted. And they let us have him and hold him until they picked him up. After I had him, everybody held him and stuff like that. Like all of my family and Brett's family, and everybody was just crying because he was passed away, obviously, but because he was so beautiful. And I'm sorry. But we got to keep him until the next day at 4. I had him at 8 p.m. on Tuesday, and then we kept him, and like I kept holding him and talking to him and telling him stories and singing to him and stuff like that until 4 p.m. the next day, and I was able to walk. Everything was good, like everything was good, everything was okay with me, at least. And it was a really smooth delivery, and I just wish that he was still alive, you know, because that would have made it so much better. Because everybody was saying, oh, well, once you're done being pregnant, you know, everything's gonna be so much worth it and everything's gonna be okay once you see his face. And it just wasn't, because of the situation. And I had him on February 26th of 2019, which was the day before Brent and I's 1-year anniversary, which was really hard. Going home on our anniversary with no baby, because he was going to the morgue, and that's just so hard for me to think about. I told myself that I was gonna try really hard not to get emotional for this video, but I'm emotional because this is my son, and I'm still really hurt that he's gone, and I really miss him. But I just wanted to tell my story so that people know that it is a very real thing. And if you feel like something's wrong in your pregnancy, like if you feel like anything's wrong ever, I suggest you go to the hospital. Even if the doctors are saying like, or if the midwife or the nurse or whatever are saying like, oh, you're fine, always get a second opinion. Always go to, you know, a different place. Always get a second opinion, because I still am so upset with myself that I didn't go down to the good hospital that's down the hill from me. I just wish he was here still. And I feel like if I would have gotten that second opinion, he still would be here. And I know I'm not trying to put blame on myself or anybody else or anything like that, but I just feel like I should have gotten that second opinion. And I feel like the mom always knows, you know, like the mom always knows if something's wrong. So I just wanted to bring a little knowledge and education about stillbirth and being stillborn and stuff like that to you guys. And they still don't know why he passed away. My doctor said maybe he, you know, touched the cord or something like that. The cord was wrapped around his neck when he was born, but before, when we got the ultrasounds, no one said anything about it being around his neck. So I don't know if that just happened like right when I was giving birth to him, because that can happen sometimes, like when they're coming out, like it can, like, you know, pull. But yeah, so I wanted to make this video so that more people knew about this, so I can raise awareness for it, because it is a big stigma. And when I talk about it to some people, they don't like hearing about it, and it makes me mad, because it's a thing that happens to a lot of people, and it shouldn't be a stigma. It shouldn't be like that. It should be something that we help people out with. It shouldn't be something that we try to hide, and it's a really serious thing, especially for me, because I had to go through it, and my son is now passed away because of, you know, whatever happened in the womb. And it's really terrifying to even want to be pregnant again, or to want to have babies again, because I wasn't supposed to have babies. Like, you know, I wasn't supposed to be able to get pregnant, and I went all the way to almost full term, like 1 week away from being like a preterm baby, but like not too preterm to where they had to stay in the NICU for too long, you know. It's just very crazy to me that at 33 weeks pregnant you could lose your child, you know, because usually they say, oh, you know, all of the risks are more at the beginning of the pregnancy. They don't tell you anything about this. They don't warn you. But anyways, I just wanted to tell you guys my story about my son, and I'm sorry I'm so emotional, and I'm sorry that I'm crying so much, and I promise my next video will be positive and happy and me doing makeup and being like making jokes and stuff. But I really wanted to come out and tell you guys about this so that you knew a little more about me and so that you knew about my son. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you guys at least got some sort of educational purpose out of this video and that you enjoyed the happy parts of this video. With that being said, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, babes.